is going on there, ladies and gentlemen, beasts and fellow monsters? Monster Man Vapes coming back to you with another review. And what do I have for this review? Well, as you probably saw by the title, we're going to be taking a look at the Valhalla RDA from Vaporz Cloud. Little 37, well, not really a little, 37 millimeters is actually pretty big. So, little history for you guys. So, Vaporz Cloud are the creators of the Buddha RDAs. They created the Asgard, which I reviewed here recently, or at least a month or so ago. They created a lot of things. The Hammer of God, the Stormbreaker, which is like a triple parallel 2100 mod. They created quite a few things, and this is one of their newer RDAs that they came out with, I believe, last year. I want to say last year, if not earlier this year. But this is the Valhalla. So why don't we dive down the table and let me show you what is all in the packaging and how I build this RDA. So see you guys down at the bottom. So this is the packaging that the Valhalla RDA will come in. As you can see here in the front, that the logo they made for this RDA Valhalla right here. On the top, same thing. Right here you got their websites, vaporzcloud.com.uk.ca for the US, UK, and Canada. Right here are the specifications for the RDA. I was wrong, this is a 38 millimeter. I knew it was somewhere between 38 and 37, I could not quite remember, but it's a 38 millimeter in diameter, 2 wide bore chuff caps, which I mean probably the drip tip. 80 airflow channels? Is that really what it says? I've been using this RDA for about a week or so now, and I didn't really go through the packaging, just wanted to learn about it, but 80 airflow channels, that's kind of odd. 4 individual post holes and a 12 deep juice well, 12 millimeters deep. That's pretty deep, but there's nothing left other than the Vaporz Cloud logo there at the bottom. So as we open up the lid, what do we get? Just like with most Vaporz Cloud products, you get this little like suede little baggie to store the RDA in. And in the baggie you get a spare drip tip and a little baggie that's full of extra O-rings and extra post screws. There is no 510 drip tip adapter on this. Of course, why would you want to use a 510 drip tip on a 38 millimeter RDA? Come on. So here is the Valhalla RDA. Like it says on the packaging, 38 millimeters in diameter. Right here you see the Valhalla logo with the lettering. Here on the bottom there it says Vaporz Cloud. There's your serial number, and there are the screws for what I believe to be the negative post holes. You get a solid 510 pin. No squonk pin with this. Of course, you would need a lot of juice if this thing had a squonk pin. Drip tip at the top is removable. So let's take a look at both of the drip tips side by side. And as you can see, you got your big silicone O-ring right there. So here is a look at the drip tips side by side. This is the one that I've been using, and this is the spare one that came in the bag. And they look to be the same bore size. However, they are machined a little bit differently. They're about the same height. Maybe this one's a little bit tall. This one's a little bit shorter by not very much. Too close to call. But you can see the way they're cut. As you can see, this one kind of swoops in a little bit, then goes down into the bore, while this one is more straight. So here is the airflow. You got this big old airflow. As you can see, there is no stopper for this, and as you pop the cap off, you have a huge hole that kind of starts from right here, but then it kind of cuts inward, and then it comes out through these air holes on your build deck. So here is a better look at the build deck. As it said on the little tube deal it comes in, each lead will have its own posts. As you can see, as we look back at the bottom, there are the 2 screws, which will make these 2 positive and these negative. Actually, I was wrong. Never mind. These are ground. These are positive. It was hard to see that peak insulator there for a little bit there. But here is where the air will come into the chamber. You got 3 smaller holes up here, and then you get 1 large hole on either side, just like that. So there, the machining looks very well. Looks pretty well done. Few machine marks, but Otherwise, this actually looks very, very clean. I can't complain. So why don't we go ahead and throw a build in this, shall we? So the coils I'm going to be rocking in this Valhalla RDA is some of the Watofo Juggernaut wire, 7 wraps over a 4mm bit. Yeah, I'm excited. Let's get to it. Well, alright folks, that took a little longer than expected, but that is the Valhalla RDA built, wicked, and juiced and ready for vaping. So let's bring it back up to the FaceTime where I'll give you my pros, my cons, pricing, and my final thoughts. You know the drill. See you guys up top. Alright guys, we are back up top here with the Valhalla RDA. Now, unfortunately, I was going to use the mod that was created for the Valhalla, which actually came out before the Valhalla, and that was the Hammer of God version 4. I have one, I own one, but when I went to make sure the batteries were still charged, they weren't, they were dead. So, but I have a mod that should power this quite nicely, and that would be the F4 by Lacimo. So that Juggernaut wire, 7 wraps around a 4mm inner diameter bit, came out to a 0.25. I got a 200 watts. Yeah, so let's take a vape on it, shall we? Now, one thing I need to tell you guys is that not every RDA can take the same build size-wise, obviously. You know, you can't throw giant coils like these into a 22 or 24. A lot of people don't believe that these massive atomizers can produce good flavor. Well, in my belief, the way to get good flavor is you build to the atomizer. And in this case, being a 38, those coils being that large work just fine. The camera can't give the vapor production its justice. It's very cloudy. 200 watts with coils that large produce an immense amount of vapor. But how's the flavor? Considering that the coils are large and they take up that build deck very, very well, the flavor is actually very good, and also because the air is directly hitting those coils, it definitely helps out with the flavor. The con, in my opinion, to how this RDA is built though, considering that there are massive air holes in the airflow right underneath those coils, you can't really just blag your juice on there, if that's the term they're using nowadays. But you can't just take your bottle and just dump it right through the drip tip, and mainly because of the fact that if you do it too much, there's a good chance that juice may run down into that airflow and come out the side. But the airflow is very, very smooth. No turbulence at all. Even cutting down the airflow, it's really hard to cut this thing down. You kind of have to have it about halfway in order to have any type of restrictedness. But with these coils wide open, does just fine. Smaller coils don't favor that well in this RDA, mainly because if you have like a 24-34 fuse Clapton, 6 wraps over a 3mm. Though those coils are by no sense of the word small, the RDA itself is still quite big. 38mm is pretty big, and coils like that still may not be big enough, mainly because there is too much air going through the RDA, causing the flavor to mute just a bit. This RDA is made for big coils. The overall machining of this RDA is not terrible. It's actually quite good. There is one thing that really kind of grinds my gears a little bit, and that is the tolerance of the O-rings. As you can see, I'm able to pull this off and put it back on with no effort. O-rings could have been a little bit tighter. But if you're into gigantic atomizers like myself, this is actually a very good RDA. Smooth airflow, good flavor if you put big enough coils in it, and if you pump enough power through it, trust me, she'll treat you just fine. So out of a 5-star rating, I'm actually going to give the Valhalla RDA a 4.5. Everything on this RDA I actually do like, except for one major point and a more nitpicky point. The major point being the tolerances of the O-rings and the nitpicky part of how the airflow was designed. But overall, still a very good RDA. Well folks, that does it for this review. Please like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already. And as always, until next time, Monster Man Vapes signing off.